Need Pokemon Go PvP coaching? Well, I'm on Metafy, so click the link in the video description and it'll take you right to my page. What's up, guys? I've got a video for you today in Master League, my first Master League video in quite a while, and actually the first time I've played Master League Classic in quite some time. But first, huge shout out to my Patreon supporters. I could not be doing this without you guys. But yeah, let's get into the team a little bit. Before we do get into the video, or too far into the video, I do want to clarify something. Most of the time, I'm showcasing my gameplay with teams that I truly believe have the potential to hit Legend with. In this case, it's a bit of a different scenario. Master League is a league where I don't really have access to a lot of the Pokemon. In fact, these are the only 3 legendaries that I am able to build for Master League. So I kind of just threw them all on the same team together, and with a little bit of team building, kind of made sense. Hoped it would work, but honestly, I don't really think this is a team that you can hit Legend with, at least this go around. Like, this isn't a leaderboard worthy team. So I do want to make that disclaimer before we get too far into it. I kind of wanted to make it more of a commentary on Groudon and how Groudon's kind of been erased from the meta. That was the main takeaway, was that the only Groudon I saw this over the past 2 days of playing, which is the only time I've played Master League and it feels like seasons, was my own. So Groudon kind of going the way of the dinosaur, and I feel like it really just doesn't have that much play anymore in today's meta, which is unfortunate because I did spend all this dust and rare candy to build it, and that's kind of what I'm lacking now. To build the other more meta-relevant legendaries now. But who knows, maybe it'll come full circle, maybe Groudon will be back. The team is Groudon, Giratina Origin, and Lugia. It's an ABB team. Giratina and Lugia are both kind of used as the swap sometimes. For example, against Kyogre, you'll be swapping into Lugia if you do want to build this. I don't know. So, other main reason I'm making this video is because I know I haven't posted in a while, and a lot of people have been asking for Master League videos. So this is more of a for fun gameplay type video. So let's have some fun games. For example, we have a Togekiss lead. This is exactly what you don't want to see. Togekiss beating all 3 of these Pokemon here, and beating them all quite handily. So the play versus Togekiss lead is to sacrifice your most useless Pokemon. In this case, Groudon doesn't really have a play versus a lot of things. So because of this, I throw right away at the end there, trying to hopefully CMP tie so that they throw energy and take out my Groudon. Success. I fail this maybe later in the video, I think. But then I can come in and farm down with Lugia. Lugia will take a little bit less damage and get a little bit more energy because those Dragon Tails are double resisted. So that's something to consider when swapping in to farm. And in comes Giratina Origin. I'm going to throw my Sky Attack right away because I don't want this shielded. I want them to let the Sky Attack through so that I can farm them down with my own Giratina afterwards. They're going to throw a move here. I'm not going to shield. I think my win condition is hoping the Giratina has a great matchup in the back. I overtap, unfortunately, state of the game, and throw the Sky Attack. Big Sky Attack, grab the last shield, and this Giratina is now in farm down range. I'm obviously going to have to shield my own Giratina here, but with an energy advantage, as long as it has a good matchup against whatever is in the back, we're looking pretty good. So Giratina, I'm going to throw the Ominous Wind here. I did try out both Ominous Wind and Dragon Pulse. I actually tried Dragon Pulse first because I'm not a big fan of baiting. So with Dragon Pulse, you don't have to bait, but there's a lot of times where it's not about the bait, it's about taking out that last 5% HP of a Pokemon, and you save a little bit of energy with Ominous Wind. Anyways, we have a Giratina Altered lead. I'm going to swap into a Giratina of my own. The original, the OG, the original Giratina. And in comes Dialga, so this is a pretty hard answer here. They shield up the Shadow Ball, but because they don't throw, I'm going to be able to get to another Shadow Ball here. And absolutely chunk this Dialga. Going to come back in with Groudon. And then at this point, debating shielding or debating just sacrificing it. Oh, wait, no, I actually come with the Lugia because I expect... Or I don't want to have to shield my Groudon here. Who knows if it's the correct choice. They don't actually get to another Iron Head. But I'm going to swap into my Groudon as soon as they come back in. And in comes Kyogre. Exactly what you don't want to see. Like someone on my stream mentioned, there have been these huge battles between Kyogre and Groudon in the past in the anime. But how does this happen? Kyogre just has such a strong matchup versus it. Surf is going to be able to easily take out this Groudon, and then Lugia is going to have to be able to get the farm of its life here against the Kyogre. Shielding a Surf feels bad, but unfortunately It had to be done to preserve some of that HP. Giratina Altered, unfortunately, doesn't have very powerful charge moves, so the shields don't do very much, even if they are super effective. In this case, I'm charging up to 2 moves because I know I'm going to be able, or have to be able to land one through the shield. So no reason to throw before that. And don't quite get there. So maybe IVs mattering there. Maybe they aren't. You can notice my legendaries don't really have very good IVs either. So it is what it is. Excadrill lead. Great lead for Groudon. One of the only Pokemon that still beats. But unfortunately, we have a Giratina Origin switch in, which is something that nothing on this team really deals with well either. So versus Giratina Origin, what I like to do is tank a Shadow Ball or an Ominous Wind if they get a little bit fancy with those baits, throw the Earthquake, and then swap out into Lugia if they let it through. Lugia able to comfortably tank a Shadow Ball and get a great farm down here. So Lugia doing its job, going to convert this HP into energy. And then nothing likes to tank an Aeroblast, not even an Excadrill, so we'll get to this Aeroblast, going to be able to throw that out, but I highly doubt this Excadrill will shield it, since it knows it's locked into that Groudon matchup anyways. They throw the Rock Slide to take out the Lugia, and then I'm going to come in with Groudon, I think. And in comes Lugia, so unfortunately my switch timer is still up while theirs isn't. Going to throw the Fire Punch to rectify that and get right into Giratina. But this matchup isn't as solid as it might seem. Ghost versus Psychic normally feels pretty good, but we do have that Dragon type damage coming out from the Dragon Tails. Super effective against Giratina Origin, who is also a Dragon type. So, shield up the Aeroblast. I'm very glad they did not bait there. And Giratina is going to be able to land, hopefully, a Shadow. I probably should have went for the Ominous Wind here. Just a little bit cheaper, and I think Ominous Wind would have been enough, considering they're going to spend 2 shields on this. Anyways, they come back in with the Excadrill, and it doesn't accept my move. It doesn't let me throw my move. So instead, we're going to probably lose this game. Yeah, definitely lose this game due to the game not registering my button press. I'm pretty sure. At least I remember this game and being very upset about it. But it is what it is. Sometimes you just lose games that isn't your fault, and honestly, it needs to be fixed. I'm very sick of just the state of the game being like an excuse for all these things. But yeah, maybe this will be a salty video. Who knows? Either way, Giratina Origin lead versus Groudon. I told you guys how I like to play this already. Normally I like to tank the Shadow Ball first. I think that's the better play, but this is when I was kind of learning how to play this matchup because they let it through. I'm actually going to go with my own Giratina. I don't know why this time I do that. I feel like going with the Lugia is the safer play most of the time here. So going to be able to farm down, and in comes Dialga. I don't know why I go for the bait here either. I'm playing very uncharacteristically in this game. I think I'm just not very... I was pretty tilted from what happened in the last game, kind of just doing whatever. I'm going to throw a Shadow Ball here, see if they actually shield this one. And they don't. So in comes Kyogre, and this is a bit of a scary situation, obviously. That Dialga doesn't have a great matchup versus Groudon. It's very low HP. But this Kyogre doesn't have that bad of a matchup versus Lugia. Gonna shield up a Surf. I feel like I was gonna have to shield one anyways. Gonna just throw Sky Attack here, because I think in the 2 shield they're gonna have to shield these anyways. And gonna make a nice catch on Groudon. This is about as useful as Groudon gets in Master League nowadays. Gonna just soak up that Surf, and Lugia is gonna try and get to 2 Sky Attacks here. Just shield up 1 Surf, and they swap into Dialga. Can't quite take it down before the Dragon Tail, but Lugia as a tank lives the Iron Head. Get the Sky Attack off. No move sneak through, so the game kind of giving me 1 back here, and we'll see if this Sky Attack is enough to take out this Kyogre. It'll be close. Lugia kind of does hit like a wet noodle, but it is enough. Lugia is able to take out that whale. We're going to get another win here, and that's going to be 3 wins. Yeah, so the other thing to note here is my rating is pretty bad. Okay, I don't mean to say that it's bad, because a lot of people are at this rating and they're not bad players, but I feel like relative to my skill level, the rating is quite low. So the fact that I cannot make this team work is kind of a negative for this team. Kyogre lead. Lugia is the correct swap here. In comes Dialga. In this matchup, I've started baiting a little bit. In this case, I'm going to still just go straight for that Aeroblast, and because I let it through, they're going to no-shield here. So how can Lugia possibly win this matchup? It can't. Actually, they shield, yeah. So generally, I have been baiting with Sky Attack recently. Dialga have been shielding Lugia if I do go to the Aeroblast. They do want to keep switch most of the time to keep their Kyogre or whatever on the Groudon. So Groudon gonna be able to get to fire punch, couple fire punches here. Take out the Dialga. And then it's obviously Kyogre's coming back in. So gonna go straight into that Giratina Origin, and in this case, always bait first here. Your only win condition in this scenario is by baiting and getting the boost, and guess what? Spoke it into existence. Unfortunately, gonna have to shield, but that's okay. 2 shields remaining, it's not a big deal. They're just fishing for the boost now too. Gonna throw this Shadow Ball, which with a double boost on attack should be no problem. And then Giratina with the double boost on defense is taking almost no damage from these waterfalls. Gonna be able to get to that Shadow Ball and just absolutely destroy this Kyogre. So yeah, honestly, the Ominous Wind and Ancient Power boosts are a bit too strong in my opinion. Having a double boost in attack and defense increases your like overall damage output by over double, because you last twice as long and you deal twice as much damage. I wouldn't say it's quite 4 times, because that's not how it works, but it's quite a bit. Ho-Oh lead, this is another bad one. Gonna get into Lugia here. Honestly, it doesn't really matter which one of those 2 you get into. It's completely fine. But we're back with the Dialga. Big surprise. A lot of Dialgas running around. And I'm gonna go straight for the Aeroblast yet again. This Dialga is a little bit either underpowered. It's not best buddied. It's 4011 CP, so a bit lower CP. But you can see how much damage this Aeroblast does as it lands. And I get the boost again. So you might be wondering, how can you be making a video about how bad Groudon is but keep winning? Well, the answer is in RNG. You just gotta pray to RNGesus, keep getting these boosts, and you can see how much damage those Dragon Tails are hitting this Ho-Oh for. It's quite a bit, and I think that's the understated part of Aeroblast as well, is that it actually does boost. I think this is the first time I've ever gotten the Aeroblast boost in like I don't even know how many games, and I think it's the last time I've ever, or I might ever get it. Either way, gonna shield whatever from Ho. Shielding Ho is the easiest decision ever. It's either Brave Bird or Earthquake. Both are absolute chunkers. And in comes Zekrom. I'm gonna throw the Shadow Ball. This was a mistake as well. There's no reason to chip it down and then to come into the Groudon and farm, because you can't farm all the way down. Crunch, it's a little bit too hard. Plus the Dragon Breaths, especially with the chance of defense drop. So I'm going to farm up quite a bit with Groudon. Going to get into Fire Punch range, throw that resisted Fire Punch, and then hope that I make it to that Earthquake, which I will in this case. Overtapped a little bit too. Yikes. And throw the Earthquake, which almost takes out the Ho-Oh, and actually does end up taking out the Ho-Oh in the end. So yeah, Earthquake honestly does decent damage versus Ho-Oh, so Groudon isn't just left out to dry there. Giratina Origin, very common lead. We're going to play this one the exact same way as before. Going to tank that Shadow Ball. This time they throw it right away, so before I even get to my Earthquake. And if you let it go, I've seen most Giratina Origins let this Earthquake through too. The thing is, if you throw first, a lot of them shield. And you want them to no-shield this. So you can come in with the Lugia and get that nice farm down. Like I said earlier, you don't even have to shield. Most people don't even swap out of the Lugia. They're like, well, I can deal a lot of damage to Shadow Ball, and they're correct. In this case, I did shield. I don't know. I'm playing erratically. Yeah, this is Master League. This is what happens when you're not used to a team, not used to the meta. Throw the Aeroblast, which gets shielded, and at this point I was like, well, maybe I should start baiting. I don't know if we're going to see any of those games later on. Either way, not going to shield anything from this Dialga. If they do go for these baits, you can actually get to that second Aeroblast, or they have to throw. And my opponent's counting very well. In all these games, actually, they're actually counting Lugia perfectly. Either way, going to come in with Groudon, throw the Fire Punch. Just want to take this Dialga out so Giratina can hopefully have its time to shine in the back. Going to swap to get that free Shadow Claw in, that little bit of free damage. And in comes Zacian. So this is the fairy type you do want to see. Giratina Origin, I believe, beats Zacian in the one shield. It's kind of close, and it kind of depends on all these moves being thrown, but they let the first one through, which is fair. They don't want to get boosted on. I'm gonna let the first one through too, because I thought they might want to superpower, close combat and dip. In comes their own Giratina, and unfortunately mine is a little bit too low to be able to deal with this, so I'm gonna throw the Ominous Wind and not quite be able to take down the Zacian. I am going to come in with the Groudon. You can see 4 fingers on the screen. I'm just trying to tap as fast as I humanly can to try and get any sort of damage through. And yes, I am able to sneak my move through and take them out. That debuff helping that Mudshot deal a little bit of extra damage to seal the deal. But yeah, yet another win there. Very close though. Giratina Origin lead yet again. So guess what? This is good practice. You can see exactly how to play this lead. Just let it through. Ominous win. If they bait you, it's great. It does almost no damage. I'm gonna grab a nice big EQ here, which they shield, and that's because they threw Ominous Wind and baited. So unfortunately, they don't see my Groudon as low enough to be farmable, and they want to preserve the HP on their Giratina. So we're going to swap into Lugia, and it's met with Melmetal, which is maybe the hardest to answer for in Master League. And Melmetal is another Pokemon that I honestly haven't seen a lot of recently either. Groudon and Melmetal both kind of have disappeared. And it's just the state of the meta. I think Zacian... When Zacian got added, like, Zacian's not very good against Groudon. Groudon's fine against Zacian, but it's just the way the meta changed. It was a better answer to the steel types than Groudon is. So why are people using Groudon when it also has all these weaknesses? Either way, able to grab or keep shield advantage there. They're actually going to hard swap into their Giratina, and this is completely fine. They go for the Ominous Wind again. I'm going to go straight for the Earthquake again. I would love to take a 2-0 shield advantage here for my Giratina Origin. There's not too much in the back that can deal with that. We're going to CMP tie, which is great. Groudon is going to tank this Ominous Wind, and they undercharge, but you don't want to undercharge in that scenario. So, well, since this team is not good, I'm not going to talk about how the team is played. Let's talk about that as a lesson. If your opponent's switch timer's up and they only have 2 Pokemon, don't undercharge. You're just giving them the ability to catch a move later on that really low HP Pokemon, or the ability to take you out with a fast move. Either way, Ho-Oh lead. This time I'm going to swap into Giratina to pressure them to actually swap out here. And in comes Sylveon, so this is not what you want to see. In fact, it looks pretty bad because Ho-Oh lead into Sylveon makes a pretty good case for double charm here. You're going to go straight for these Shadow Balls. Yeah, Shadow Ball does an absolute ton, but because I let a charm through there somehow, which doesn't really make sense, I threw with good timing, so I must have lagged a turn right after the charge move. Another bug. This Sylveon's able to take out Giratina, and obviously Groudon, I'm not going to shield anything here. Groudon's locked into Ho-Oh, so going to get right into that Lugia and hope that Lugia with a shield advantage is going to be able to sweep the game here. Ho-Oh comes in comes Metagross, so this is a bit of a tricky matchup. You might think Metagross is good against Lugia here because Metagross resists all of these moves and deals neutral damage back, but honestly, the Metagross Lugia matchup is way better for Lugia than you would expect. Lugia is just a monster. The Aeroblast is so good on a Pokemon that tanky. Yeah, look how much damage it deals to that Metagross. It didn't shield, and gonna grab another Sky attack here to try and take on the Metagross. They don't shield because they're saving shields for Ho-Oh here, and looks like they're going for the full farm down. I throw with a really bad timing, so that sneak through is my fault. I can take I know when I'm wrong, so that was my fault. In this case, we're gonna shield up the Groudon, of course. In this case, throwing with good timing yet again. That's 7 mud shots. 2-turn move versus a 5-turn move. Throw the Earthquake, deals quite a bit of damage. And then it looks like I'm going to be able to get to that Earthquake, which will be just enough to seal the deal here. Yeah, so I lagged a turn there too. If I had a 3-turn fast move, I would have lost the game because of it. But because I have a 2-turn fast move, my charge move comes out on turn 3. There's still that 1-turn buffer, which means I don't take that fast move damage yet. So that's going to be a 5-0. Yeah, 5-0. But remember, we boosted in the first 2 games, and then yeah. So technically, without boost, probably would have been a 3-2, which would have been one of the better sets. Either way, this next set, maybe enough winning here. Mewtwo comes in, and next time I will go into Giratina because Giratina can kind of force Mewtwo out, and it's pretty bad if the Mewtwo stays in, so and farms and then catches. But in this case, they do throw a Shadow Ball. Unfortunate that it's Shadow Ball Mewtwo. It's much better versus my backline than Focus Blast. And then they come with the Dialga. I throw Aeroblast here because I'm already at half HP, so I'm not going to be able to get to multiple moves. Might as well throw the stronger one. In this case, Dialga back into Groudon. I'm going to shield once because it could be a Draco, and if it's an Iron Head, then they can just throw 2 Iron Heads and take me out anyways. So shielding once is a safer play. even though it is locked into the bad matchup afterwards, Giratina Origin would just be destroyed. And either way, Mewtwo is not that bad of a matchup. I'm going to go for the Fire Punch bait. They do have 2 shields remaining, so it's likely that they'll shield. And then I'll swap right away into Giratina Origin. The fact that they're not switching out is a good sign, but I decided to try and call the bait. And in comes Zacian, so not exactly what you want to see if you're Giratina Origin. I would have loved to see... Yeah, I don't even know here. Kyogre maybe or something like that. But either way, Giratina is very low. Gonna grab that Ominous Wind before going down to Snarls, and going down to Snarls is a bad sign, but luckily I've saved a Fire Punch. This Fire Punch is gonna not quite do enough damage here. Groudon not able to bring it home, and because of that, Zacian has stored up 2 moves, and obviously at this point is gonna be able to take out Groudon here. If the Fire Punch KO'd, this would have been a win, I think, or a very probable win, because Mewtwo would need... it takes longer for Mewtwo to get to 2 Psy Strikes than it does for Groudon to just get to 1 Earthquake. Giratina Origin lead. Let's play this the same way again. They're going to throw their Shadow Ball here. Going to take it and throw an Earthquake back. And then swap out to Lugia. So, exact same way. As the more you get your gameplay down to like the formula of it, the better your games are going to be. In this case, we're going to bait against Togekiss. I like to bait against Togekiss because they always love to double shield their Charmer. And I'm going to no-shield this move too. Ancient Power, Flamethrower, they don't do that much damage. So you're going to be able to still get to an Aeroblast and a Sky Attack even if you don't shield. So if you get the bait off, Lugia can take a 2-shield advantage against Togekiss, which is fantastic. And I get the boost! So I did lie earlier. I did get another boost on Lugia, but... unfortunately, I was unable to use it. And then also, unfortunately, even though they 2-shielded Togekiss, it's got a pretty good matchup here. And it's not even running Ancient Power. It's running Aerial Ace. So I thought I was completely safe to no-shield here, either taking a very garbage move or a not very effective move. But instead, I took a different garbage move, which was slightly less garbage. Okay. Giratina Origin, unfortunately, I couldn't farm all the way down. Gonna have to throw this Fire Punch to take it out. In comes Togekiss, I'm assuming. No, it's Mewtwo. So they bring in their Mewtwo. Gonna throw the Earthquake, which doesn't quite KO Mewtwo, surprisingly. And Giratina is gonna come in and should be able to just shield up. And this Togekiss is very low. So because if it Shadow Claw is a 2-turn move, it should be able to take out this Togekiss before it gets a move through, right? Right. And the reason I said that was because I did play another game where, for some reason, I think I lagged 2 turns and the Charm came out before the Shadow Claw and I lost that game. Okay, we have Kyogre versus Groudon lead. Not what you want to see, but we're going to swap right into Lugia. And in comes Dialga. This is a very common team. Kyogre in the front usually means Dialga in the back. And a lot of times, the third is Togekiss. It's that Season 1 team that has been so strong for 10 seasons now, so... Maybe time to shake up the meta a little bit, Niantic. I really do think that that's the case. In this case, I go for the bait on Dialga. I've learned my lesson a little bit. They throw Iron Head, and because I call the bait, they're going to have to throw another Iron Head to avoid shielding the Aeroblast. So in this case, I'm able to take shield advantage against this Dialga, and the Dialga is pretty low. And Energy Dry. So this is a much better situation than I've been in the past. In this case, I charge up quite a bit on Groudon, and then I want to get this farm on Giratina as well. And I'm going to be able to farm down to cost half my HP, but they don't get to a move, so I do have shields remaining. In this case, Lugia comes in. Shadow Ball does a lot of damage, but as you've seen, my Lugia has tanked a Shadow Ball before, and this Lugia also has the shiny bonus here, which is a joke for those of you who are truly wondering if shinies do more damage, but they don't. Anyways, Groudon has an Earthquake. Going to throw this Fire Punch right away. And it doesn't quite take out the Lugia, but I will be able to save 2 shields for the next game. Yeah, that's a bit of a rough one. Kind of stewing a little bit there. So I think this set specifically highlights a lot of the weaknesses with Groudon. There aren't a lot of good leads for it. Like, I am losing a lot of leads, but that's kind of just the nature, I think, of running Groudon. They actually try and make a catch here. This is why I like to catch or take the Shadow Ball first. Lugia comes in, and my best Lugia answer is unfortunately Giratina Origin. which, like I mentioned before, is not like the best answer for Lugia. You do have to shield up some things, but in this case, if I think it's just a Sky Attack, I can just let it go. And Giratina gets to that next Shadow Ball, so you can actually force 2 shields here against Lugia if you are able to guarantee taking that Sky Attack. Fortunately, this Lugia does have quite a bit of energy, but luckily I have the tankiest Pokemon in all of Master League. Another Lugia, so gonna tank these Sky Attacks. I would have been okay taking an Aeroblast too. They're actually gonna swap in their Giratina and throw a Shadow Ball, and I'm just gonna stay in for a little bit here, get some farm, go into the Groudon and throw my Earthquake. I just wanted to deal a little bit more fast move damage so that I would be able to take this Giratina out before it was able to get to a big move, but unfortunately still gets the Shadow Ball. But fortunately, it is in farm down range. In comes Lugia, and these Earthquakes, they do nothing, so gonna have to throw some Fire Punches, but these Fire Punches also don't really do all that much. Either way, getting it down a little bit lower is going to allow Lugia to farm down and then perhaps transition this damage into an Aeroblast on another target. And like I said earlier, nothing really likes to take an Aeroblast, so this game is looking pretty good with shields down in the back. Fortunately, they do throw another Sky Attack, and I know shield this because shielding a Sky Attack feels pretty bad. And it ends up being the right choice because Zacian for sure would have gotten to a move. Aeroblast does not KO. But unfortunately, looks like Lugia just gets snarled down. That move sneak absolutely killer against Lugia there. So, gonna lose another game. It's painful. Landorus, yeah, so another lost lead. Probably the better ground type in this meta. Gonna go right into Lugia. And they don't swap out because they have Stone Edge and they know they want to deal as much damage to this tank as possible. So Stone Edge comes through and in comes Dialga. Gonna throw the Aeroblast. And then, like I said, I only throw the Aeroblast here because I'm at half HP already, but would be able to get to that Sky Attack and force a shield. But my opponent is counting, so great job counting. They're able to throw an Iron Head, take down Lugia, and this is perfect farm down territory for Groudon. It's gonna have to tank a move, but Iron Head does not KO. There's no way they're at a Draco. And then in comes Lando, and unfortunately this is not a Pokemon that Groudon can really deal with, so gonna have to no shield the Stone Edge here, and in comes Zekrom. So gonna bait with Ominous Wind. Hope for the boost. But yeah, no reason to go for Ominous Wind. Sorry, there's a reason to go for Ominous Wind this second time. It's that I can't get to the Shadow Ball, so I'm gonna deal as much damage as possible. I get the boost once again, but too little, too late. Gonna shield up the Groudon, but unlikely that Groudon will be able to power through this Zekrom. Have to throw the Fire Punch bait, and honestly, they don't even need to shield it. They can just save their shields for Lando at this point. And gonna just keep mudshotting. And that's it. That is the last game of this set. That's a 1-4. And honestly, pretty representative of how this team went. So sorry guys that I couldn't create a workable real Master League team this time around. It kind of really sucks that there's no other cups going on either, because I really have no motivation to play Master League with just the 3 Pokemon that I have built. I really wish Niantic ran a couple maybe other themed cups, or even Master League Premier Classic beside it, so that there were some other options to play other than just Master League Classic, which if you don't raid, you don't really have the Pokemon to compete in it. So anyways, sorry if this video was a little bit depressing. I really didn't intend for it to be that way, but I appreciate everyone watching, and hopefully everyone is having a happy new year so far. Yeah, thanks for watching.